The Susan Brender Show is a radio show online broadcasted on YouTube across the United States and globally. The show features guests who speak about health, spirituality, entertainment, and a host of subjects to enlighten people across the nation. Listen to the show that empowers women and men alike and highlights those who have made a difference.
I'm Susan Brender, and this is the Susan Brender Show. And I'm so fortunate today to have Barbara Gordon on my show. She's a love muse and relationship consultant. She's here to help you charm your way to attracting authentic love into the life with your guide. And the guide is Barbara. So welcome to the Susan Brender Show.
Thank you, Susan. I am excited to be here. And as always, it's going to be a great show.
I think so. I agree with you. Let's talk about this. Do you feel the current cultural views of aging have been detrimental for women?
I think there's so many ads and so many different drugs to take to be young and youthful. I think a lot of older women feel really badly about themselves because they start to, I feel, compare themselves. They don't mean to, but I think there's so much out there about being young and youthful and, being that young babe that, all the men want. And I think so many women have told me that they feel invisible, that they feel like, they're getting older and not very attractive. And I think it's kind of sad to buy into all that hype in the media.
Yeah. One of the things that I recall is in the 50s, and I was a little girl at the time, women, they were like slaves to their husbands, and they also didn't have good self-esteem. And now people feel differently. That's why, as you said, there's issues with them. But on the other hand, they want to show off and they want to be different, just different. So why do you think that's the case?
I think that's a real good point, Susan, because I think women, as we age, we gain so much wisdom. And in that, the crown of glory of wisdom that we have as we age, which we didn't have when we're younger. So I feel the key is self-care, but self-care in a way of, making sure you go to the doctors, making sure you go to the dentist, those self-care things that people don't really want to do. Self-care of taking care of yourself emotionally every day and staying in your own lane. And that means don't get into people's drama, stay in your own lane. And also just self-care of how you look, getting haircuts, things that are really obvious, but they're not, especially during the pandemic when people just started wearing their sweats and haven't really gotten out of that whole thing yet. Looking nice, taking a shower. I know that sounds weird, but some people just forgot about all that during the pandemic because they were, depressed or down. But self-care, and as you feel good about yourself as a woman, those ads and those other things won't even affect you because you have your resolve within yourself.
Yeah. I'll tell you something, Barbara. During the pandemic, everybody was so depressed and so anxious that they forgot, as you said, to do the things that are most important to you. And the problem with that was they really ignored themselves. So when you say that they had all these issues, you're right. They did. Now, what I want to know is, can you share a personal experience that indicated an elder might be useful to a younger person?
Yes, I think that there are many. I know that for me and my business, and I taught school years back, and I still get people, running into them and saying, "Oh, Mrs. Gordon, you were the best teacher I ever had. You taught me how to live my life." And that's amazing that you affect so many people in our lives just the way we are. We don't even realize it. Just our positive presence and attitude just affects so many people in the world. We're not even aware of it. And then also, being older and helping younger people really helps both because we learn from younger people as well. So a lot of times when, I'm in my townhouse here, people are really, they go, wow, you're 73. You just, keep on moving and you're always going. And, they've said to me, you're an inspiration just by being, active and positive and upbeat and not groaning and moaning that I'm getting older.
Yeah. I'll tell you this much, Barbara.
Yeah.
People, when they're older, they have so much wisdom that they
Yes.
can share with all the younger people. And you
Mhm.
know what? I'll tell you this. I
Mhm.
had a teacher who I adored, and she had an impact on me. And I think that teachers are a great job because they have so much positivity toward the younger people.
Yes, I feel that too. In fact, a teacher in my eighth grade class encouraged me to go into teaching when I didn't feel I could do anything at that age. I didn't think that I was smart enough or good enough or any of that. And he wrote on a paper, have you ever thought of becoming a teacher? And I went, whoa, just it takes one person to just believe in you a little bit, just one person.
You know, Barbara, can you share an experience where you felt honored to be an elder?
Yes, I have had many of those where I have been called upon, to speak in groups. I just got through speaking at a group about positive and conscious aging and how important it is how we age. And I think that a lot of people use the words youthful and, young, but I think the better words are being wise, being conscious, and really being present for people
Mm.
and being with each other and being present to listen to other people.
What was that experience like for you, Barbara? Because it sounds like you had a great experience, and I know you're such a good person to be absolutely thought about as an inspiration to so many people. So tell us about some of the experiences.
A couple of women came up to me and just shared that they were afraid to ever say anything out loud about how lonely and isolated they felt as they grew older, and how so many of them had told me about they don't ask for help because they can do it themselves. And I spoke in my lecture about asking for help, how it's so important, and how much stronger you are when you can ask for help, and it humbles you. And I think if you have humility on top of that wisdom, that's a wonderful package, actually.
I didn't ask you, Barbara, what is a real love muse? You call yourself the love muse, but what does that mean?
For me, it means a person who helps inspire people to open their hearts to love, but not only love of the romantic type, really about loving and kindness to all people and smiling and being open and being flexible in their lives. I have a great story if it's okay if I tell it. Um,
Absolutely, go for it.
I just went to the Mendocino woodlands. It's a deep, deep, deep in the forest with a big group of women. And it was the most beautiful experience of my life because I was quiet. There's that stillness in the quiet of the forest. We had to go up the road to go to the bathroom. It was rustic as rustic could be, but it was a wonderful experience because everything got really, really black at night and it was so silent. And in that silence, I think we get to hear our voice of intuition. And I came back and I really it like reset my nervous system. I felt so good to get away, no telephones, no electricity, no nothing. And it
Yeah.
was one of the best experiences I've had in a long time. Went away for 4 days and I didn't join in a lot of the activities. I didn't want to do that. I started to really be quiet. And what came up was probably to write a book. That's the next thing. Um, and that was neat. So, what I'm just saying is taking time for yourself, and being a love muse means really being silent with yourself. Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you, Barbara, because so many people do meditation and yoga. That's
Yes.
their way of really being quiet and feel something inside themselves as
Yes.
they breathe over and over. Now, what I want to know is, do you incorporate that into your programs, meditation, yoga, things of that nature?
Yes, I do. Especially, I do energy work, which is really beautiful work. It's a
Explain that,
form.
Barbara. Energy work. What does that mean?
Energy work is a form of meditation, but it's meditation in movement. And so I do that every day for about 20 minutes. And it's just including a lot of people can't sit for a long time in meditation. So for a lot of those people, energy meditation is a really good thing. It's called Qigong, and it's really a beautiful way to start your days. There's a lot of those on YouTube videos, and Marissa is a woman on YouTube that's quite good. So I would really recommend that. And yoga, yes, yoga and breathing work, I think is a necessity for positive and conscious aging, to give yourself that quiet time because everyone is doing, doing, doing. But I think it's about being as we get older more
Yeah.
than.
What are you doing now in this regard? Because you're doing so much that I would imagine it's hard to be very quiet because you're teaching, you're telling people how to lead their lives in so many different ways. So I wonder how you do it. How do you make yourself available to so many people?
I really watch that, Susan, because I think that oftentimes when we have this great energy, people tend to pull on it. Does that make sense? And I think I have to really watch, the people I'm around and how many activities that I really participate in. So I really watch that and the kind of people I'm around, to protect myself in a positive way. So I have that energy for myself and my husband and all the different things I do. Um,
Now, what I want to know, Barbara, are men like women? Do they have the same needs at all?
I think men do have the need of being quiet. They might do it in a different way. I
How's that?
know.
How's
I know.
that?
I think they meditate. I think a lot of them meditate, but a lot of them might fly. Fly fishing is a great meditative sport. A lot of them go, hiking. A lot of them do activities. But I think a lot of men do their own type of spiritual practice.
So you
It,
see the difference between the two, don't you?
a little bit, a little bit. It's just a little bit. Maybe they're a little bit more active, maybe in their practice. I think, from what I've seen, anyway. You know.
Yeah. You talked about people being very lonely and very isolated.
Yes.
Is there a way to change that at all?
I think that, I know it's really difficult for people to reach out, But I think one step would be just, to text someone and say, hello, how's it going? People that they know. I'm learning that a lot of people are probably more introverted. So it's a little bit more difficult to really reach out for them. So maybe having them, talk on the phone a little bit, maybe join a group. But that's sometimes difficult for people because it's a big step. Um, but I just think picking up the phone or texting someone to start with, and just reaching out, I think is really important.
Tell you something, Barbara. I heard about a situation that I thought was terrific. There was a group of people who decided that they want to really speak to somebody every single day. So
Mm-hmm.
what they did was they formed a group that
Mm-hmm.
called a person who was all alone. And through that, they found a way to attract people to the phone, to talk to them, to give them some advice on what to do with their lives. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that was a wonderful thing, don't you?
Yes, I do. I think that is wonderful. A lot of people did that during the pandemic, where they formed circles like book clubs or just circles of friends that would call each other and check in. Because when you're alone, a lot of people, something could happen and, no one would know about it. So it would be good to have a check in and check out buddy every day. I think that's a really good thing for people, women especially that live alone. Just a check-in in the morning. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? And maybe a check-in at night. That would be good for people, just so they'll be able to have a voice, listen to a voice daily. They say it's really good to connect with one person a day in some way, a walk or a pickleball, whatever you like to do, just a text or a phone call. My sister and I do it through text. I have other friends that we do it through, the phone sometimes. I'm not a real big phone talker, because it takes a lot of time, being honest.
Right.
But that's a great way to start for people. Oh, and also joining a meetup group is a great way.
It's funny that you just mentioned it because I belong to a meetup group. In fact, I lead a meetup group,
Mm.
and it's really one of my passions. I love it because everybody has an opinion. In my case, it happens to be a political meetup.
Oh,
This is this you think that people would fight, but they don't fight. What they do is they share their ideas, and that
mm.
is great. So I recommend that people join meetups because they are so wonderful and so inspirational for so many people.
Yes. I love what you just said because I think the older we get, another thing that I really think is important is to expand our minds. And, some people might be politically for, a Democrat or a Republican, I'll just say. And it's really good to be able to sit and listen to another view, and maybe you'll learn something. You may not agree with them, but you certainly can learn more. And I think it expands us, when we're around all different kind of folks instead of just people that believe like us.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that people learn a lot and they really teach a lot to other people. But one of the things that I think is very important is that an elder person should choose a younger person
Yes.
and give them their inspiration because they know so much more than a younger person does. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
I agree. And I also think we can learn so much from younger people, as well. I think they have so much to offer us because their thoughts and beliefs are so different from baby boomers. So I feel that that is another way to kind of team up with, I mentor quite a few, women in my time. And I feel that that's a great way to just help and trade and help guide, women to different realms of their life.
When you say that you mentor women, what is your mentoring all about?
Just life, just talking to them as a friend and just about life circumstances and helping them to look at, their education, what they want to do, um, just different things for different people. It's been really interesting. I did a lot of student teaching in the day where I helped a lot of student teachers get started. And it just seems like different people come up in my life, and it just feels like if it's a fit, it feels like I usually end up mentoring them, and that's been a real gift to me in my life.
I hear you and I hear what you have to say, and I'm just wondering how grateful you must feel when you teach somebody anything, virtually anything. It
Mhm.
must be such a passion that you have that you want to do it for more. Am I right about that?
Yes, yes, that and volunteering and doing things around social justice, really important to me. And I just believe in living life full out. I mean, if I could teach that to women, and keeping that balance going, because that's sometimes I have that difficulty with just keeping balance going. I
Right.
want to do so many things. I want to try it all.
Of course you do, because that's the way you are. Now,
Yeah.
tell us a story that you might have that really would teach our audience a little bit more about you, Barbara.
See, I'm just thinking about that. Huh. I would probably be the person that would go somewhere and not know anything about where I'm going. That would really be, and I love that because the trip I just went on, I didn't have a clue really. And I love going somewhere where I, don't know what's going to happen and experience something that I haven't before and meet a bunch of new people. I love meeting people I don't know. So that would be some, and it's very easy for me to do that. It's a gift.
Yeah,
So
it is a gift.
it's a gift. I love going to like parties and places and experiences and love learning about cultural differences and people and travel. So that's probably what I would say about myself. And I'm real flexible, like you had to be on that trip because it was really rustic.
I'll tell you something, Barbara. I went on a trip also
Mm.
um, to a place in Connecticut
Oh,
where there was they danced. That's what they did. They
oh.
used the most beautiful music and they danced all night and
Mm,
they looked up at the stars, and it
mm,
was also very dark and very not sad, exciting actually. So
yeah.
I understand how you feel about going away to places like that. So tell me something. If you have another chance to do it, would you do it as soon as possible?
Yes, yes, yes. In fact, I love the quiet and I love being in that atmosphere of the forest and the trees. And nature really calls me as I'm getting older. It's always called me, but that's where my peace really lies. I was going to organize a group, but then I thought if I did that, then I wouldn't have that same experience. So
Right.
I think I'm gonna maybe go again next year and not participate, just be where I'm and probably write. That's probably what I'll do.
What about the performing arts? Because arts changes the whole attitude that people have, uh, basically making them feel so good.
Yes, dance. Yes, dance I love. I think dance is just even dancing around the house really helps your mood and helps your attitude, when you feel down. Any kind of art I really like. I love going to art shows, and I love art, and I'd love to make art. I haven't done much of that, but I'm open to it. Different creative arts I like.
And I think that you would find that most people feel the same, because the arts is the most wonderful thing. Now, here's another question for you. What are you doing now or see yourself doing down the line to feel more positive about aging consciously?
I feel that I want to up my self-care even more. I want to do more for myself around self-care. I do quite a bit, but I want to have more quiet time during the day. I read a lot as well. So I'm trying to implement more quiet time, and I walk every day too. So that's a quiet time, but I usually do that with my husband or a friend.
That's
But
what I was going to ask you, Barbara. What
yeah.
about your husband? Does he follow you? Does he do the things that you do? Because, when you're a couple, it's really wonderful because you can do something and not be alone. So does he participate with you?
He has had some spinal cord injuries, 2 spinal cord surgeries. So he's been, the last couple of years have been stressful around that.
Yeah.
But he does walk with me every day, and we take rides. He just bought a new sports car. So we take rides, to beautiful places. And we went to the ocean the other day. He does the best he can, but it's very up and down.
Yeah.
So I have learned to accept and just go with the flow, so to speak. And that's been a real challenge for me.
That's the point, Barbara. Challenges are really a stressful way of leading your life, but you can find ways, and you've talked about this. You have
Yes.
found ways to get rid of your stress, and I
Yes.
think that's wonderful. Now, what I'd like to know is if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Okay. The best way to get in touch would be my website. It's www.thelovemuse.com, and you could send me a submission by the email on the website. And I also offer complimentary 30 minutes consultations. And I would love for people to call me or email me. And my number is 510-917-0299. Would love to work with people who really would love to live their life in a positive and conscious way. Thank you.
Well, my guest today has been Barbara Gordon, who's a love, muse, and relationship consultant, and she can help you all with all the things that you need, especially during this time, which has been so stressful. That's the way I would end this. It's been a very stressful time. And if you want to really take advantage of her course, she explained where you do it. And I want to thank you again, Barbara, for being on the Susan Brender Show.
Thank you, Susan, so much. It's such a pleasure and an honor.